What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Sit Down Saturday. Today we are going to be having a conversation with Hanny, the man behind Agabyss, who you may know as a retailer. If you don't know, you probably should know. Good dude, solid business tactics, and good customer service. But also, more importantly and specific to this, his involvement with BotCon and what BotCon even means anymore. This is a conversation that I teased back in winter, and we are finally getting to it. It was a little bit of a struggle to kind of organize it, but we got it organized, so it is coming to you. I don't really have much for housekeeping because I'm recording this on Sunday. My week is crunched. I'll explain why later. I've also been working on some stuff. Let me see if you can... how's that look? You know, we're working. But anyway, we're going to talk about the difference between BotCon then and now. We're going to be talking about Sinclair and how that is involved, at least in some capacity. We're going to talk about exclusives. We're going to talk about guests. We're going to talk about exactly what is Agabyss's involvement. I had to ask him why none of the major news sites are covering it. You know how my brain works. I like to get into the conspiracy stuff almost immediately. So we're going to cover all of that. And as a heads up, this conversation I think is condensed into about 15 minutes. It's like 40 minutes, the full conversation. We get into the weeds a little bit. We spill a little bit of tea and all that. That's going to be over on Patreon for the full uncut conversation. Here, just the bare bones. Just the facts in the words of Dragnet. Jimmy Friday, was that his name? I mean, I know Jimmy Friday. I'm not sure if I'm confusing those or not. It's interesting. Doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and get into this conversation.
What's up, everybody? I am here for another Sit Down Saturday, and I have a special guest with me today. I have a gentleman that you probably know more so from his store than you know from his name, but today you're going to learn his name, and I have Hanny from the Agabyss store.
What's going on, Bobby? How you doing, dude?
I am well. I'm glad to finally have you on. We had some logistic issues getting that set up, but I'm glad that you're here.
Happy to be here myself.
All right, so let's go ahead and get right to it. What can you tell us, if anything, about what has happened to BotCon kind of in the meantime and in between time from when they were the kind of officially Hasbro, event to what it is right now?
I can hit on points that I'm aware of. So I can tell you that 2016 was in Kentucky. I think that was their last show. I didn't go to that one, but I can tell you it was a situation, from what I understand, Hasbro pulled the license from FunPub and then dipped out to do HasCon.
Right. And it seemed like from the outside in that BotCon would just be dead in the water.
Right. And I think at the point it was a situation where they approached Brian Savage from FunPub.
Right.
They asked him to stay on for the JoeCon. So I think maybe it was a situation, I don't know if it was pride or if he's just like, no, I ain't going to deal with this again. He just told him, no, I'm not going to extend it for you.
Right.
He walked away from the JoeCon. Since then, it's just been quiet. I think it sat, and then other shows built up in the meantime. And then it wasn't the time and place for it to come back, I think, is the best way to put it.
Yeah, no, I guess that makes sense. But then how did it get back up and running? And I guess we'll tie that into how you got involved as well.
Someone got wind. There are people who got wind of it being available for sale, like internal people from the past. And then
as like a brand or a license or what?
As a brand, right?
Okay.
The whole brand / license was available. So it's obviously an opportunity to revive a brand and do whatever you want with it.
Right.
Whether Hasbro's involved or not, or other brands are involved or not, it's still a well-known name. So
right.
They went after it. So one of my friends was approached by someone who was trying to revive the brand, trying to bring me in, and that's how I was brought in. So basically, it became a situation of them wanting a retailer on board, and bringing the skill set of a retailer for planning, etc. So that's how they brought me in.
So to what capacity are you involved?
I am the full runner, organizer, hoster, everything of the show itself. So I'm funding it. I'm taking all the risk. Well, so I'm planning all the exclusives, and I'm also involved in the parent company, BC Productions.
So explain that for me, because on one hand, it's like somebody saying, hey, do you want to come in on this? And then when I ask what you're doing, it's like, well, I'm basically doing it all.
Yeah, so let me just clarify. I don't want to paint the wrong picture. So in BC Productions is a holding company.
Okay.
So they essentially, you could approach them and say, hey, I want to make shirts, BotCon brand with BotCon characters or whatever the case is. And then you can take a license out to do it. So that works for other companies, pretty much anything. As long as you get the approval, you can use the BotCon brand and the name.
Right.
So that company, it strictly is a holding company. It has nothing to do with organizing the show. I mean, there is a little bit of, hey, it'd be cool to see this or cool to see that, but that's about it. So for the actual show aspect, I'm running the show aspect of it. So going going forward, hopefully, I will keep running it. And then, I have ideas for expansion and different ways to take the show in different directions. But, it's all on me for the show. Our company is the sole organizer of the show.
There's a sensitive question that has to come up with this, and it relates to the history of all this stuff. And I've been doing a little bit of research into it recently, and I've had a couple people reach out to me with sort of inside info that I've also appreciated. But if I don't ask it, it would be very apparent that I didn't ask it.
Right.
So what is the involvement of Pete Sinclair?
I knew that one was coming. So, all right, Pete is part of the original crew from BotCon back in the day, and he had a strong connection to the last owner. He was part of the crew that brought the revival on. So he is also part of BC Productions, the parent company, and he's also licensing his own brand, which is Night Shining, and he has his own exclusives. Like if you go to their site, they've got Valaverse, Wasp Raider,
right,
among other things. I think they had like books highlighting the past of all of BotCon and all the exclusives, and he knows his brand, so he's obviously working with what he knows.
So he is involved.
Yeah, so he's a shareholder of the parent company, and he's a licensee himself.
Copy. He obviously has become a bit of a controversial figure, and I might try to reach out to him at a later point in time and have that conversation with him, because it's not really fair to put you in that position.
All I knew of BotCon when it comes to mishandlings in the past was the credit card thing, because I did get my credit card stolen just like pretty much everybody else.
Yeah, I remember that as well. But what was always funny to me about it was like, once again, from the outside in, because I wasn't buying any of that, but like the response was, it always seemed like it was like, well, I mean, we didn't come up with your, simple passwords.
And I think it wasn't handled correctly. And I will say that it might have been a situation where Pete was put at the front, and he had to figure out how to defend the company that he works for, and he may have just lost his shit. To be honest, I don't know. I never saw any of that stuff. I don't know anything about it. I can tell you from my dealings with the guy, I've never had an issue. Like, I've dealt with him on numerous occasions. I've pinged him for help on this and that, because obviously he knows how to run a show, and he's always been cool with me. I've never had an issue. So I mean, I will say that.
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair point of view. Like, I think that there is something to judging a person off of your personal experiences with them, right? So let me use that as a bit of a segue to ask this next question. This might be another one that you can't go into, and that's up to you. I want you to feel comfortable here.
All right.
I have noticed this new BotCon has made a number of announcements since its revival. And I've also noticed that a lot of the major news platforms are not carrying or promoting this news in any way, shape, or form. Whereas if I compare that with other conventions, they could mention that, they're planning on having a seeing eye dog handy in case anyone needs it, and it would make front page news. But I don't feel like any information has been promoted in any sort of way. And I don't know if that's a matter of greasing palms with conventions and all that. I don't put that above any of these folks out there, but I also think that it's possible that there is some sort of beef, like some sort of personal agenda behind it.
I think it really comes down to protocol for some sites. Like we follow a certain standard, and you either have to be a sponsor to get announced, or you have to know someone in the group or something to that respect, or affiliations. And affiliations probably plays a big part in some of them, where, obviously you're going to support the people you're friends with and who you're affiliated with. But, I always see it as, you're a news site. You want to cater to the fans. Don't keep the fans from something they might be interested in.
Right.
Like, there are people who do like BotCon. There are people who have no idea that Frank Welker is going to BotCon. I mean, that sounds like a big announcement.
Well, yeah. So that is one, and we're gonna get to your guests and stuff. But like that was kind of the most obvious one to me, where I was like, wow, like this is pretty huge to the Transformer fandom, and for kind of nobody to mention it seems blatant.
Yeah, it's very strange. Like you said, I mean, it's become so clear that it's almost tacky.
Do you think it's in relation to Pete's reputation, or do you think that he has nothing to do with it? Perhaps it lies elsewhere.
I think it's both.
Okay.
I think maybe some of it is due to Pete in the past and whatever happened, and I think a lot of it may actually be due to like affiliations, like who's going to benefit from not talking about BotCon, that type of deal.
Right. That's interesting.
Dude, look at it from my perspective. I'm a retailer, essentially, right? Mm-hmm. Trying to host a show where I'm trying to encourage other retailers to come and make as much as they can and, have a good show.
Right.
Everybody should support the other. I mean, it benefits all of us to become a community. We're all collectors in the end. Well, most of us are. That's really what it comes down. I wouldn't be doing this if I wasn't, wrapped up in corduroy. My parents had me wrapped up in corduroy and a sweater vest as a kid playing with Transformers. I wouldn't be doing this.
Right.
If it wasn't
you Poor thing. I have to just be honest and say that when I reached out to folks about what they wanted to know regarding BotCon, a lot of them centered around Pete.
Sure.
So the last question, I promise, about him anyway. But like, I know from the past that he has had a pretty stern, strong stance on third-party products, and it has not been a positive one. It has been a negative one. And with this going forward, now that Hasbro's obviously not attached, and you are attached, and many people associate you with third parties specifically, what does that mean as far as BotCon and the relationship with third-party products for this event?
There will not be a third-party ban. There's going to be no ban of third-party. We're not going to police the room for that stuff. So, I mean, there will be third-party there. I will be selling it at my own booth.
Right.
We're encouraging brands, like, I don't know if you guys saw the 5-2 Toys brand. The 5-2 Toys is an up-and-coming brand. They're pretty huge. I think they even got a grant in China for being like the first transforming toy brand out of China that originated from China.
I see.
So I will say it's not the only, but it's the first company that we've partnered up for official product because, it's official. So like it's their own design, it's their own thing, and that's considered official. There are some big ones that we haven't announced yet that will also be coming to the show, and I think people will love it. So official stuff will get spotlighted in our cases. Third-party stuff will be there.
So it's third-party is welcome.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I mean, I think that's important. That's a major change in perspective from what it used to be, and it definitely makes it more enticing, I think, to people that tune into my channel, I'd imagine. When I think of BotCon, I think of it as the good old boys Transformer Club. Like, people related to FunPub, people related to BotCon, people, as an entity, people related to TF Wiki, people related to TFW, people, the good old boys, right? I think of official and ban on third party. I think of Hasbro as an entity. I think of all of those things. And this show, even though it shares the same name, doesn't sound the same. So tell me what's the difference between BotCon in 2022 versus BotCon in, 2017 or whatever it was.
You look at BotCon back then, it's definitely a different clientele than what goes to other shows, right? It's a different group of people. They're like extremely passionate about the Transformer brand and the stuff Hasbro does and the story and all that. And I get it. And that stuff's important to keep attachment to, right? So going forward, BotCon 2022 is going to take that and it's going to expand on it. It's going to be a very Transformer-centric show still, as you can see from all the guests that we've announced. Plan is to expand into other robot brands to make it the one place to go for anything that deals with robots or something that transforms.
Gotcha.
That's where I want to take it. Because obviously, like, look, we all collect other stuff. And like, you can't tell me that there wouldn't be someone there who would want to see Mask in addition to Transformers or Voltron in addition to Transformers.
That's true.
I mean,
plus all the Gundam and all that other stuff.
Oh, yeah. There's so much of it. Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, having it be Transformer centric will still remain the case. It'll be important and it won't lose focus of that. And then we will also add to it as we go by. We will add the other companies that we attain. And then we will also try to expand on it and maybe intertwine them. You never know. Collaborations, things like that.
Let me give you a little bit of time to promote this thing. Talk to me about guests.
We're not done with the guest list. I'll start with that.
Okay.
There's more to be announced.
Okay.
I know we have Michael McConaughey, who is Trax and Cosmos and a bunch of Joe characters and Visionaries. And even, a lot of people don't know this, but he voiced, I think was Master Tatsu in the original Turtles. I mean, he's out there. He's got a good list of everything that he's been involved in. We have Melody Spivak. So this is the robot brand of it now. So she's done stuff for Robotech. She's done stuff for Star Trek. She's done shit for Gundam. She's done Cowboy Bebop. She had a major character that was like she's a well-known character. It was a standalone episode, but she was a well-known character in that. I mean, I'm not even touching on everything else she's done. I mean, and I think at some point we'll get all of that on the BotCon website so you can see like the full list of everything that they've, just so you could prepare what you need to get signed when you get there.
Right.
After that, we have Jeannie Carr, who is Black Arachnia from the Netflix show, the new show that was, I think it was Kingdom. So she's going to be there. She's actually, I think, new to the voice acting game, but, she's got talent. We thought we'd get her there.
Oh, that's cool.
To know her. who was after
voice
him.
actors are a huge draw for a lot of these fans. I
They
do
really
know that.
are. Bob Budiansky. So I'm like, man,
okay.
how can we not have the guy who pretty much created the characters? You know, he gave them their characteristics. He worked for Marvel. He wrote the tech spec. To that, there's going to be a surprise with that later on too. So because Bob, actually, I'll tell you a funny story. We were talking to Bob, and he's like, "Man, you should really get my friend to come on this. We do really well when we do our panels together." And I'm thinking he's going to be like, bring my friend Dave
Right.
to the show so that we can hang out. And then he's like, "It's that dude, Simon Furman." And I was like, "Oh, Simon Furman, yeah, I've heard of him."
Yeah, right.
So we're like instantly got on it. So we contacted Simon. He was 100% ready to go. He wanted to be involved. So we're bringing in Simon from the UK. Between the two of them, there isn't anything untouched when it comes to stories from Marvel Transformers.
That's
so
true.
there actually is going to be something. I won't speak too much of it, but there will be something that's coming from them too that I'm sure people will love.
Nice.
So that's them too. And then I think the last one we've announced, Frank Welker, which I don't think he needs an introduction. He's the Mel Blanc of everything else, is a good way to put it. Like,
Right. Yeah.
He voiced Freddy. He's voiced Freddy in Scooby-Doo. He's voiced Scooby-Doo. He's voiced 20 or something, 30 something voices for Transformers.
Right.
It's probably the same amount of people for Joe's. Like, he's Mirage, he's Sludge, he's Megatron, he's Soundwave.
Right. And talk to me about exclusives. Will there be exclusives at the show?
Yeah, so we've already announced the 5-2 Toys exclusives. I don't know if you're familiar with 5-2 Toys, but it's like I was talking about it earlier in the show, but 5-2 Toys is a brand that makes transforming everything and somehow gets it into the size of a 2x2 cube.
Okay, I am familiar with those.
They're up and coming, and I was telling you about how they got the grant. I think it's a perfect brand to partner with. So we started there, and they're going to be spotlighted for the box set. So the box set's going to be on them. It isn't going to be the only exclusive at the show. I know there's some people who are like, I don't know anything about this. It's not my thing. There'll be other stuff.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you've also kind of sponsored the Realm too in some way, haven't you? There's a lot of friends of mine over there.
Yeah, man. I appreciate the Realm, and I appreciate being friends with those guys. They're a great group of guys. It's almost like a family. I know you're involved, and I was actually honored when they announced that they're going to make this year's meetup at BotCon.
Yeah.
I love that. That was great.
Yeah. I was happy to see that too. I like those guys a lot. So when is the show?
August 25th through the 28th. In Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah,
okay.
So it's essentially, I think it's the very last weekend. Yeah, it's the last weekend in August for sure.
Where would you prefer people go social media wise to kind of stay in tune?
You could check out Agabyss. We kind of post everything, and I think it gets shared to the BotCon page. You can check out the BotCon page, BotCon Facebook page. Mm-hmm. And now we've just launched a brand new BotCon page itself. So if you really want to see everything in one place, that would be a good place to go, because we're going to add to it. Like I was going to do a couple different things with dealers, highlighting dealers. I want to do things different, like appreciate them. Right. Highlight the dealers, highlight the artists, show what kind of art they do on the page, and give people an idea of what's out there before they even go to the show.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. So look, all of the contacts and stuff will be in the description for Agabyss and for BotCon. Hanny, I appreciate you coming on. I know that some of those questions are sensitive, and I appreciate you tackling them. And I also am going to hold you to your word to come back on and kind of give your story as a distributor.
100%. Would love to do it. And I appreciate you having me on, Bobby.
Absolutely.
It means a lot to me too as well.
So that's that. Once again, the full-blown conversation is over on Patreon, and I want to take a minute and personally thank Hanny for coming on. He has agreed to come back on in the future and tell kind of his whole story surrounding and regarding Agabyss, how it got started, the trials and tribulations that he's faced as a result of it, and I'm sure there'll be some tea there too. So please put in the comments that you want the second part of this so we can kind of persuade him to do it sooner than later. I'm hoping to do it in summer. Say something in there like, Hanny, come back? Just leave that. People will know what it means. Once again, all of the contact information, both for Agabyss and BotCon, are in the description. So go ahead and check that out as well. I know some of the blocks have already sold out and stuff, so you might want to jump on it. They've also expanded blocks, and it seems like it's going to be fairly successful. But we'll see. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.